welcome to the Lifesaving Labs Adoptions. This is the series. This is the second of the series of three. I'm very excited for this talk. It's going to be fantastic. We have two talented, lovely ladies from the Magnolia State of Louisiana, and they are friends but work at different shelters and have worked together a lot in the past. And so we're going to have I think it's going to be a fun one. They're going to share their knowledge and expertise with us. But before I hand it over to them, just a couple things. We will be recording this. It will be live on our on our YouTube channel, and we will be sending out some information to you afterwards with a lot of the good content that you've been seeing here. So without further ado, I will hand it over to the Cajun crew.
Thank you, Alyssa. Okay, so we're going to be talking about removing barriers and building connections. I'll go ahead and introduce ourselves. Let's see. I'm Shelly Delahousie, and I'm the manager at the Lafayette Animal Shelter and Care Center. We're in Lafayette, Louisiana. No, that is not New Orleans, but we're about 2 hours from New Orleans, so we're south, like Hillary says, in the boot. I've been here for about 8 years. I have a husband and 4 kids, so it's a circus at home. I have an animal science degree from UL. I am very country, so I had no clue that animal shelters existed. We just sort of dealt with our own problems by ourselves. We didn't call animal control because there was a stray dog in the yard. So I bring a different perspective here. And also, I love all the things that animal welfare people hate, like we raise our own meat at home. I have chickens and we slaughter a cow every year. And I'm like, I know some people are probably freaking out, but I have a deep respect for animals. And I think that makes it different in that I do respect them very deeply. So it's different. We're different. You're going to see that we have a little bit of a Cajun accent. I like to call Hillary Bobby Boucher, but it's all good. So I hope you can understand us. But what I really wanted to drive home is that we are just normal people out here trying to make a difference. So my friend Hillary.
Yeah, of course. Hillary Detillier. I'm the animal shelter manager at the Lafourche Parish Animal Shelter. I'm a wife. I'm a mom. Um, I was born and raised here in the community that I'm working in currently for the last 10 years, which of course, creates its own difficulties. I'm sure some of you understand that. Um, I graduated from LSU in 2014. I have been working in an animal shelter ever since. I started my career at Companion Animal Alliance in Baton Rouge. It's a very high volume, high intake shelter out there. Moved on to Iberville Parish Animal Control, and then about 10 years ago, moved back home and took this job. Um, I don't work on Fridays. I just put that in there because I just like to come forward first thing and say we should not ever be working ourselves to the bone. If we want to do this for the long haul, we cannot burn ourselves out. And we do want to do this for the long haul, right? Like this is a great job. It's a great um, community to be a part of, right? So Lafourche Parish, we serve about 100,000 residents. This is the municipal shelter for the parish. Annual intake about 2,300 pets. I'm dealing with a population with about a 19% poverty rate. So very rural, very poor community. Just so you guys can understand where we're coming from down here. I have an animal shelter staff, fully staffed at 7. So I hope maybe I can relate a little bit more to some of you guys. I know y'all listened to Mike last week from Massachusetts, and like that's just mind blowing, right? To some people, but my staff is 7. So maybe that makes me a little more relatable. Um, with that staff of seven in 2024, we adopted out over 1,000 animals, which puts that at over 50% of our raw intake. So I think that's incredible. I brag on my staff all the time. Our 2024 save rate was 93%. Um, so yeah, that's just a little bit about me, and hopefully some of you guys can relate to the smaller places, you know?
Definitely can relate. So the things we're going to cover today is pets leaving your shelter. And so you guys need to get excited about that. And how do we do that is making your shelter the best place to acquire a pet. How to remove barriers to adoption. I know Mike kind of talked on that last week, but we'll go into it again. And then resources for our adopters, how to handle returns, and then we're just going to show you some real data from our own shelters, and we're going to tell some stories, y'all, because that's what we do in Louisiana is we just tell a whole lot of stories. So, as far as creating the warm, welcoming, judgment-free zone in your shelter is, just think about those vibes. And we want to make sure we have good vibes only. Uh, you don't have to have the fanciest place. This is a picture in the background of our shelter, and I know it looks real fancy, y'all, but we became no kill in literally a jail. Like it was concrete cinder blocks, like the norm, right? And so it's not really about the space that you're in as far as the building itself, but creating that environment and that fun place to be needs to it can happen anywhere. This picture that we have of Kaylee, our one of our staff members, like Kaylee has RBF. Okay, so like she just does. That's just how she is. But like look at her. She does it in this picture. And that's the kind of stuff that we make sure that we train our staff that everyone is welcome. We need to be cheerful when they come in. Literally, we roll out the red carpet for adopters. Okay. But I mean, anybody that comes in your shelter is valuable. And so, anytime, that interaction there is setting the tone for the experience that they're going to have, but the experience also just for your government or your community in general. Like, you need to be a good representation of that. So it's rainbows and sunshine all the time. Uh, One of our friends, Rob in St. Tammany, he said he even puts a mint jar out on the counter because, oh, I mean, what place do you go to that you don't like mints? You're going to grab a mint. It's awesome. So any little thing like that makes a huge difference. Also, hospitality, hire the right people. So like I said, Kaylee, she has RBF, but Kaylee is really good at understanding people. And so she meets them where they are. She understands where they're coming from. She has empathy. We want to hire people that really can connect. Because one thing that we know that we can train you to handle a dog, but we can't train you to be nice. So really look for that whenever you're hiring, because honestly, the culture of the organization can change based on all the people that work there. As far as adoption hours, you definitely want more hours for outgoing animals than in. So really think about that. If we're only open for adoptions from 12 to 5 on Monday through Friday, but we're open for intake all day, 8 to 5. Like, let's reverse that. So adoptions need to be, out all the time. So for us, that was our schedule. It was. We only did adoptions from 1 to 5. And then I said, why are we doing this? Why is it 1 to 5? Well, we have to clean kennels in the morning. Why can't people come in while we're cleaning kennels? Well, that's a public safety problem. Like, it's a public safety problem when they get out of bed. Everybody has a risk that they have to take. So can we clean and adjust how we do things to, of course, make it safe for the people that come into our facility, but also still make animals available and can be seen. Also, who are you showing? Are you only showing the adoptable animals? Are you keeping the stray animals like kind of hidden or forbidden? People can't walk back there. You want to make everybody seen, all the animals. We don't want to hide anything because it looks kind of weird when you do that kind of stuff. So, just think about those things. How you move through the building. Is it easy to navigate? Is it, are there exit signs? There's so many shelters I go in, there's no exit sign. How do I get out? I don't know, you know? So, and then like nobody's around. Think about that kind of stuff. Working hours. So like for me, I'm here 7 to 5. So if I wanted to go adopt a dog, can I actually do that from my shelter? Uh, well, I'd have to take off of work. And like, I don't know about y'all, I really love pets, but I needed my check. So like, I can't take off of work to go adopt a cat or a dog. So think about that. If they work 8 to 5, when are they going to adopt? Can you maybe open a couple hours in the evening? If it's a weekend, you don't have to open 8 hours on Saturday. Nobody wants to do all that. But for us, what works is just 2 hours. Everyone comes, we do 12 to 2. That was the time frame that worked for us. And 12 to 2 is the only time we're open on Saturdays for adoptions only, and that works. I know some shelters do after hours, maybe 6 to 8, or that works for them. We've tried that, and we only had 1 or 2 adoptions, if that. So we nixed it, and now we're just open on Saturdays. So think about that. I know it's hard. I know like Hillary only has a few people, but maybe try to get with your volunteers, see if they can help you. But you really want to think about because I'm telling you, those breeders, they'll meet you at 3 o'clock in the morning if that's when you're available, to give you a puppy. So if they could get it that easy from a breeder, we need to make it very easy from our shelters.
Yeah, and so just because I have a small staff, it is hard for us to open like on Saturday mornings or something like that, but we do always promote that we do appointments. And so an appointment almost always ends up in adoption, right? So we definitely, if people call and they're like, "Are y'all open after hours on the weekends?" No, but can we schedule you to come in? Just be willing to do that because that really only requires a single employee, right? So, but first, how do we get adopters in the building? I think intake pictures are so important. I can't stress that enough. This is an intake picture. This dog right here in this picture, that's the first picture we ever took of the dog. First time we ever handled the dog. The dog is sitting on a plastic table that we can easily sanitize. It's in a bright area. The dog looks happy and it's gonna immediately draw attention. That dog was posted. The next day it had an adoption application. The next day it got spayed. The next day it went home, right? And that's just like a 30-pound mutt, you know, dog that I think if it didn't have that intake picture, that you're looking at 2 weeks plus that dog is going to be in your shelter if it gets just a little snap post. I think it's so important that on our software, whatever y'all using, PetPoint, Chameleon, that you immediately put those animals as available. And that gets pushed out even before the stray hold is up. At our shelter, we do pre-adoptions. It's a 3-day stray hold. But that dog can get adopted on day one. It can it can be paid for, and on day 4 it can go home because people can see them as soon as they hit the adoption floor. I don't know how well known people know this, but adopters can set alerts via Adopt a Pet, Pet Finder, if they're looking for a specific breed or age or size. So people will get alerts as you are posting these dogs to, we use PetPoint, as you're posting these dogs to PetPoint, if they're looking for a Yorkie, hopefully the dog looks like a Yorkie and it doesn't look like a decrepit, you know, whatever. Please make the dog look adoptable. Because once that might be the only time that that person sees it. They're gonna get the alert. They're gonna look at the picture. You want them to say, "Oh, that dog's so cute. I gotta get it now." Um, and they do, and make it easy for those people to come in, to reach out with either an adoption inquiry, email to your shelter. And follow up, get those people in the door as soon as possible. We find that the faster we reach out to those potential adopters, the higher our adoption percentage goes up because those people are looking for a pet, right? They're gonna find one. Let it be from our shelter. Obviously, social media presence in 2025 is huge. Um, Pick a social media platform and be consistent about it. Um, a lot of us, I'm sure, are using Facebook. That's our huge, biggest adoption promotion that we use. Something we're not so great at is following up on those adoptions. So these pictures will get all this traction of people sharing and let's find this dog a home. Um, we need to get better at, hey, now we found this dog a home. Make sure that you're consistent about it and just follow up with your followers so that they continue to want to engage with you. Local newspapers, magazines, we always want to thank those people too for giving us that publicity that our pets need. So,
Yes, for sure. Next is removing all the barriers to adoption. Yes, that's me. And I'm not trying to be conceited, but I do have a story about this dog and myself. Like I said, I didn't know that this even existed, this world. And so again, I have that different perspective, but skip all that paperwork. I know Mike talked about it, but we don't need a 20-page application. This is not a child, if they don't have a yard, it's not a problem. They don't have money, it's not a problem. There's no vet references, neither do I have a vet reference. Hillary, of course, wanted me to share this story because I actually lied to get that dog right there. So before I had this job, I was a vet tech and I saw this dog, a Catahoula Blue Merle, on Facebook, and I was like, oh man, that's a cool looking dog. I want this dog. So I messaged the people, and it was a rescue group in Baton Rouge, actually, that had the dog, and I asked if I could have it. And so, because I didn't know it was like an adoption. So she was like, well, you have to fill out this application. So I'm starting to fill it out, and I realized there's all these vet references. I'm putting all the vets that I work for, and they actually, like, one of them called me and she was like, wow, you're trying to adopt a dog? Like, I had to lie and say you were a good owner. Like, dang, okay. So she did all this stuff. The lady calls me and she says, look, your application, it says that you work 8 hours a day. And I was like, yes, ma'am. Like, doesn't everyone? And she said, well, what are you going to do with the dog while he's at work? And I said, oh, I live on 2 acres. I've got a fenced in backyard. He's going to go outside. And she's like, she almost didn't adopt because I was going to put him outside while I was at work. And I'm just like, what? So then she eventually said that I could adopt. And I was like, all right, cool. I say, where can I meet you? Whatever. And she's like, well, do you want to meet him first? And I was like, no, like he's a cool looking dog. Like I'm good. And she said, well, he's a Catahoula and sometimes they could be a little shy. And I was like, got it. Like I'm good. Like I don't need to meet him. I'm fine. And so she was asking about coming to my place and I'm like, look, we're not doing all this. Like, I'm not, can I have this dog? And so she said, yeah, okay, well, we can meet. And I said, well, can we meet at Henderson, which is like an hour distance from me and then an hour distance for her. So it was like a halfway mark at a truck stop. So the picture on the left is actually me adopting my dog Haggard at a truck stop in Henderson on the side of the road. This lady did not know what was going on. Like when she's like, I don't understand how this girl's gonna meet me at a truck stop, like pay for the dog, like I'm pretty sure she said a prayer when I left to make sure that he was gonna like live. And that's us on the right. Haggard is now 13 years old. I love this dog. He's great. I have no problem with him being shy. But this story I use all the time because like it was me, right? Like I was this story of I had to fill out this application. I had to like, um get vet references. My friends had to lie to say that I was a good owner. Like this is insane. Insane. I was a vet tech for 10 years, a 2-acre property. I know how to care for a dog. It shouldn't have been that difficult. And so but you know what? Haggard propelled me to be able to do that for other people at our shelter. And so I'm not an expert of someone else's life. If that 60-year-old woman wants the 8-week-old puppy, I'm like, you sure you want to deal with this? But if she thinks she can, then who are we to say that she shouldn't, right? And so we really need to start thinking about those things and removing all those barriers because we're not the pet police at some point, right? Like, I mean, yeah, we take care of them but we really need to trust that people really do want to help and that every person that walks in the door is there to actually help and save pets. So, yep,
Yeah.
I lied on the application.
And and Shelly, I think that once you start doing this, once your shelter builds this reputation for having these conversation-based adoptions, adopting to people without offense, adopting to mostly that's the fence thing, right? Is people get denied over and over again at other organizations over a fence. And so
Yeah,
we'll have people drive 2+ hours sometimes, because we talk to them over the phone and they're like, well, will you adopt me with no fence? Yes.
yeah,
Like they just want a pet. I mean, if anything, those people are gonna walk the dog on a leash, right? So yeah, I think once you
yeah.
build that rapport with the community and the surrounding areas, that you're going to see an uptake in adoptions just because people want to adopt and they're being denied other places.
Right. Yeah, I actually am working a big cruelty case now, and our lawyer came yesterday for a meeting. It was just so random, and she said she adopted from us, and I was like, oh, thank you so much. She adopted 2 kittens. She said, yeah, I went to the rescue down the street and they wouldn't give me any cats. And so I came here and I got 2. And I'm like, this is an attorney. Like what? Like why didn't they adopted this? And she's so sweet. I'm like, that's the kind of stuff though, that's the kind of stuff. And she said she was turned off by all the questions that they were asking her. They just asked way too many questions about her personal life and all this stuff. And it's like, come on, man. She
Yeah,
wants to help these cats and she did. So
yeah.
that literally happened yesterday.
Duh, I believe you. People definitely know what's best for their own situations. So,
Yeah, for sure. Uh, okay, so all the support. So now that we've adopted to them and they're good, let's offer everything that we can. This is a picture of some soft-sided crates that Hillary gives out for cat adoptions. We are giving out right now black wire crates for every dog adoption. We noticed that most of the dogs that are leaving our facility are coming back or being returned, which is not a bad thing. We're going to talk about that. But they're being returned for things that or behaviors that could have been stopped by a black wire crate. And it's so easy. And so, we wrote a grant. ASPCA gave us money. Here's that dog was free. That crate was free. The bag of dog food on top of that crate was free. Like we loaded it up in her car. Okay. So, and look, she's adopting a pitty. So any kind of support that you can give them, let's do that. We have a partnership with Good Pup. I know Hillary does too, where it's free training. They've changed, so now I think they're getting into Rover, but it's still going to be the same support where you can have virtual training or in-house training to help you, and it's discounted for adopted pets. Go talk to the local trainers in your community. See if they'll give you some type of flyer that you can put in those adoption packets. Um, and just because you're a municipal, you can still do that. Just take it from anyone who will give you something to put in those packets. the local vet clinics, vaccination clinics, any type of support that you can help. A lot of people, it's a first time pet, and so they don't know what vet to use, or they don't know. So we have a list of all the veterinarians in our parish, and we'll ask them, like, where do you live? Okay, well, this one's closest to you. I don't know, just give them some sort of direction as to where to go. Starter kits, like I said, the food, you can have collars, local pet service coupons. We have a contract with Science Diet where they give us little trial bags of food that we can send home with every adopter. It's excellent. They also give you a huge discount on just pet food for your organization, so your shelter pets. I know we are saving a ton of money. And when I first started, we were buying the cheapest thing that we could find at Tractor Supply or Walmart. It was like Old Roy. These dogs were getting like crap. And we switched to Science Diet, and now we're saving money, and they're getting a better diet. So plus they give us food to give to our adopters. Next month's flea and heartworm prevention, like just throw it in the bag. Hey, give it to them next month. You really want to try to get these animals on a constant schedule. Petzl, I cannot say enough good things about Petzl. It sounds crazy, but they actually, it's free post-adoption support. And so what they do is they take your branding and then they implement it into this program, where the adopter, once they're adopted, they will text and email the adopter for quick surveys, check-ins to see how it's going. I know a lot of people ask, like, we want to contact them in like 3 days, 3 weeks, and 3 months. Petzl does that. And so it does it for you. It looks like it's coming from us. So it looks like we sent them a text. Hey, how's Coco? Like we have not touched it. Petzl sends it. It's just our branding that's on it. And then Petzl will alert you if there's something that you need to pay attention to. So let's say, they're having some issues with the dog urinating in the house. They would like you to reach out. And so they click that on that little survey. Petzl tells us, hey, this person needs help. And then that's the one that we're actually calling. But they thought that we were in touch with them the whole time. But actually it's Petzl. They have great little online videos to help them with crate training or basic obedience, anything like that. It is amazing. And then the survey results for me as a leader of the shelter is invaluable, because those people, they're not calling and emailing to say if they had a bad experience or a good experience, but on that little app that they just like type it in, they'll let me know, like, Kaylee had RBF today, or whatever. I'm just kidding, Kaylee didn't. But if there was something that they didn't like or they think we could change, I really, really appreciate that. And so it's really easy. It integrates with your shelter software, so you don't have to touch anything. It's amazing. I cannot say enough about it, and it's free. So literally just reach out to Petzl and they will get you signed up.
Free adoptions? Yes, free adoptions. So like Mike said last week, if you guys were on, free adoptions is going to send a mass alert to your community that you need help now. I don't think there's anything else that we can do that says we need help right now, in a positive way, more than free adoptions. So yes, if you are in a crisis situation, your adoption fees need to be waived. Be honest with your audience about your current situations. And I say this all the time. Community problems are solved with community solutions. There's no big person in the sky who's going to come swoop in and save us from all of our animal community problems. It's up to us, and it's up to our community to come to the rescue. I think free adoptions is an investment. We actually just had an adopter come in today who adopted a dog last year during a fee waived event. She wrote a check for $1,000 to our supporting nonprofit. I was like just in shock, right?
Not about the money.
Uh,
That's awesome.
right. It wasn't about the money then.
Yep.
And she felt so strongly. She has this bond now with her pet so strongly that she wanted to come back to our shelter and thank us, some kind of way. So that also, really truly happened today. So if you haven't tried free adoptions yet, I would encourage you to do it, especially if you are ever in need of moving some animals out very quickly. This will sound the alarm and you will have people come to help you.
I think that's the only event that really sends in the crowds almost every time. And I mean, it really does. We could do $10 adoption, whatever. Our adoption fees all year round is only $35 for dogs and $25 for cats. So it's already, affordable. But when you say free, they're coming. They know that your kennels are full, you need help, and people are coming. You can wear it out. I've done that before. I've done it where I'm like, just free all the time, and then you lose its spark. And so you can wear it out, but I think it really does help. Yeah, give them away. Let's talk about those returns. Don't grasp your pearls, Betty. So returns is not a big deal. There's a lot of shelters that have a huge problem with returns, but returns need to be a learning thing. It's not actually failure, right? And so, I'll never forget this one. I know I'm telling stories. I'm telling stories. I'll never forget this one lady that she had a black pitty. She adopted. She brought it back. It was heartworm positive. She had did all kind of vetting on it. She went get it. She paid for heartworm treatment. She hadn't started it yet at her vet, but she had got a pro heart, all these things. She came in, she was like almost in tears, returned the dog because, it wasn't working out for whatever reason. I don't remember. And I remember that afternoon, I had like walked the kennels. I saw that dog. I'm like, man, I can't believe she brought that dog back. And when I went in the system, they marked the lady as do not adopt. I was like, what? So I'm like asking people, I'm like, hey, why did y'all put her as do not adopt? Like, did she beat the dog? Like, he looks fine. And they were like, well, she returned him. And I'm like, but her vet records show she paid $450 in vetting. Like, what? She paid all this money and returned the dog. There's something going on. And so I called her up and she was saying how she regretted it and she thinks it was just a training issue. So I was like, if we were to, help you with training, she's like, oh my gosh, that would be amazing. I cannot believe it. She came back and got the dog. But like, y'all, what I'm saying is that lady would have been a do not adopt. Like, what? Just because she brought a dog back because she wasn't sure what else to do. But she spent that much money investing in it. She just wasn't sure. She didn't know what else to do. So, returns need to be welcome back. I know for us, we always laugh because I say if they bring them back, try to sell them two other ones. Just they're gonna leave with a pet. It's just not the right fit, and that's okay. We've had one dog that was adopted 5 times. That's it happens. He's just he didn't find his family yet. There's a special person for a special pet, hands down. You just have to wait for him. Think about it when you go get a dog from a breeder, you get this purebred puppy, whatever. If it's not working out, if you call the breeder and say, hey, it's not working out, what's going to happen? They're not going to give you another option. Like there's no other litter mate that you could take. It all came from the same litter. So that's kind of an advantage that we have as animal shelters where we have a variety of different personalities, different types that they could choose something else. Hillary has this thing that she just told me last week that she's been doing that she actually has people foster their returns. And I'd love for her to talk about that.
Yeah. So two things, right? We did free adoptions the whole month of August for Clear the Shelters. And so we started to see like immediate returns, like people who took the dog home, them and the boyfriend got in an argument, they needed to bring the dog back the next day. So we saw that happen a couple times. I said, wait, hold up. We can't do this on repeat. Um, we're only taking returns on Wednesdays. Sorry. So that's a conversation that we have up front now is you can take this dog home today, but if you need to return it, it's going to have to wait a few days. And that has worked surprisingly well, because I think it gives people that second, it's not just like a shock return, right? They at least have to take a step back. Did I put the dog in a crate ever? No. Did the dog just freak out when it left the shelter? Yes. Um, so that's how we're dealing with those immediate returns. Number two, if the dog's been adopted weeks, months, years ago, we want to see that dog come back to our shelter. We want to help you place the dog, but you're going to go through our own surrender process, which requires you to foster the dog. So you're going to come in, you're going to get updated vaccines, updated prevention, updated heartworm tests, a new picture of the dog, and we're going to start marketing it, but you just became the dog's foster. And so that dog will stay in the home until we find placement for it. So as I said at the beginning, this is a really small shelter. I only have 18 total dog runs. So we get very creative about how to keep dogs out of our shelter. And so this is something that's been working for us for well over a year, is that we take those returns. They are processed like all of our owner surrenders, which means that that person becomes the foster, and it keeps the dog out of the shelter. And dogs obviously do much better out of the shelter. So, and then that person can meet with the new adopter. They now have this bond, a safety net is formed, and we're just the middleman. So that's actually worked really well, and I think everybody should give it a try. I really do.
I love it. I love that about you, Hillary. You try all the things.
Yeah, I do. I'm not scared. I'm not scared to be the craziest person. That's something about me. So make adoption the first option. Like I said at the beginning, as soon as those dogs are coming into our shelter, we need to list them as available on our website. They have this beautiful picture. Um, and adopters, we want them to be first, right? We want them to be first in line. If those placement partners or rescues want to come in after the stray hold is up, if that dog isn't adopted, of course, let it go. Our owner surrenders. If that dog has no hold on it, let it go. However, it leaves the shelter the quickest. I also just wanted to add in here about transfers because I know that this group is on the East Coast. So we obviously being in South Louisiana, we transfer a lot of animals out that way. But Shelly and I are like, shelters here that are practicing that adoption first. Like that's what we want to see them adopted. We want to see them move into homes quicker. And I know Mike kind of touched on it last week about maybe taking a look at the policies that are in place for some of those transfer in partners and make sure that they are doing the same thing in their communities, that those pets really are being routed quickest for the most positive outcome, right? Adoption. That's what we all want. We don't want to see these dogs sit for weeks and months in shelters. We want to see them in homes.
Yeah, I think that's so important because as a transfer, why wouldn't you want to work with a shelter that's actually trying for themselves too? Like not just relying on you as a transfer partner to take their pets. Like they're doing the best that they can at home, and then you're just helping them out, in the interim or whatnot. Yeah, for sure.
And then I had this thought last week when we were putting together this presentation that open adoptions are the gateway drug to no kill. And I just think what that means is that it gives us that breathing room, right? If we can get these pets into homes quicker, then it gives us that second to pause and say, what are we doing on the front end to decrease kennel space permanently? Then not decrease kennel space, but decrease capacity, permanently to keep less animals in the shelter. And I think that's how it went for me was this as soon as we can get enough dogs out of the shelter to have a second to take a step back and say, okay, we can't pump all these dogs into the shelter at one time. And that's how the foster to surrender was born. It obviously gives the staff more time for fun things. It increases staff morale. These are some dogs at my shelter that are dressed up in costumes that were just harder to place dogs, So we're kind of doing what we can to get them placed as quick as possible.
Yeah, then you have time for the fun stuff like costumes and play groups and the fun. So the data don't lie, bro. The data don't lie. In 2017, this is our stats in Lafayette. And so in 2017 is when the mayor of our town had he ran on a campaign called No Kill 2020, and that he had laser focused that the shelter was gonna save more animals and become no kill by 2020. We immediately lowered our adoption fees. So like I said, it was $100 for a dog. Now it's 35. It was 85 for a cat. Now it's 25. We made sure we had that ordinance in place that we could waive fees at any time. We opened the doors wide open to rescues. We started a TNR program. So all of these things that we started doing to try to increase adoptions and save more animals, and it paid off. By 2020, you can see we had 1,300 animals adopted. Our save rate, though, I wish I would have put that in here. I'm sorry I didn't. But our save rate for dogs in 2017 was 46%. And today, and since 2020, it's over 90. Right now, it's at 94. So the community is going to come, and that's not from increased transfers, and that's not from anything else other than lowering those adoption fees, making it easy for adopters to come in, welcoming them, welcoming returns, all of those things, increasing our hours for adoptions. Adoptions shot through the roof, and so did our save rate. So it went hand in hand. And people can't argue with this, right? So like they're gonna argue that, oh, you're giving away all the animals, now they go and fight pit bulls. And I'm like, no, they're not. And then look at these numbers. And you just always use those stories, right? Always use those stories. Find your pit bulls that are in the community that are not getting fought and they're, dressed up as a unicorn sitting on the couch, and just share those with them. So my favorite though, because I really love pets, but I really love people. And saving pets really is saving people, y'all. So this dog here, that's a bunch of our adopters, and that's so fun. But this dog here, her name is Marie. And I'll never forget this. It was 2017 when we were not quite no kill yet. They had a guy that came to our shelter. He was homeless. He literally, like, he was the definition, right? He had like one shoe on. He came with a Walmart buggy, walked to the shelter, picked out Marie. Okay. And I had just became supervisor. They came to my office. They were like, we can't put this adopter in the system because he doesn't have an address. So he's homeless. So what do you want to do? And I'm like, give him my address. I don't know. Like, let him adopt. And they're like, yeah, but he doesn't have a home. I'm like, so? And so I go out there and I talk with him. And when I realized he picked Marie, and I was like, hallelujah, because she was like high strong, high energy, black pit bull. Okay, like this dog is not going to leave. And that's the one he chose. So I went out there, I talked to him, I gave him food, I gave him everything he needed. Um, I gave him my address. Like literally, I just put my address on it, whatever. He adopted. And then fast forward 2021-ish, we're at this brand new facility. We had just built a new shelter. We're doing the no-kill thing. We're adopting out a ton of animals. It's awesome. It was totally a God thing because I was walking up front and for some reason I was up there and I see this like Toyota truck pull in the parking lot and this guy nicely dressed, gets out the truck and I recognize him, but not really. And then I saw Marie. I saw this dog and I was like, there's no way. There's no way that's him. So he comes in and he walks in on the surrender side, which already like broke my heart. And he was like, hey, I just want to let you guys know. He was like almost in tears. And I was like, wait, I remember you. This is Marie. And he was like, yeah. He said, I got a job in another state. And so he said, I can't take Marie with me. I tried everything. I thought of all the things. I don't know what else to do. I can't take her with me. And I was like, I just cannot believe this right now because he just pulled up in his own truck. Like, what? I was like, you got a job? Man, it's awesome. I started talking about all that. And then he really goes on to say how, this dog really saved his life and that if we wouldn't have let him adopt, he would not know where he is today. And at this point, I'm like, I'm almost crying because I'm like looking around like, do you remember this? Like, this is insane. So, I talked to him about all the things. He really can't take the dog. So I was like, look, it's not a problem. He showed me everything she knows. Like she had the little service vest and she knew all these commands. He's crying. He was like, if there's any way that you could give her new adopters my phone number, I just want to talk to him about like her little quirks. Like she needs her blanket at night and she needs this and she needs that. And I'm like, look, I could try the new adopter. I'll give it to them, but I don't know if they're gonna reach out. So Marie's a hot mess over here, okay? Like just like she was 3 years ago. And very hard to adopt. She's so high strung, but she's got all these commands. So we were working with her every day to try to keep her sharp. They had this family that came in. They had some young kids that Marie could not keep up with these kids, right? And so we were like, this is a perfect fit. So we adopted to this family, and I said, look, this is the guy's number. He asked if you could reach out because, she has a few little things he wanted. Those two met up, and now those two people are friends, and they're always sharing stories with us of how Marie's doing and how he's doing. They kept in touch. It's amazing. Like you never know what's on the other side of just letting the dog go home. Let the dog go home. It's just like Hillary was saying, we don't know people. Who are we to judge? Who are we to say, like, what would have happened to this man if he didn't have this dog? I don't know. And so it was just that day he wanted a dog. We gave him a dog, and then now look at him. I mean, I'm not saying that all of our shelter pets are going to be out there saving the world, but they could. So can we try? Like, can we just let them have the pets? So I'm going to tell that story till the day I die because it was the highlight of my career. But I think that's what we were getting at is you just never know. So open up the doors. Um, so anyway, Melissa, I think you said that maybe someone had a question.
Yeah, absolutely. Sorry, I got to stop crying first.
I'm sorry. Happens every time.
It does. You got me. All right. Yes, we do have one question for y'all. So when you say schedule appointments because you're not open on Saturdays, are you saying that those appointments could be scheduled beyond your regular hours, or are the appointments for your open hours only?
Yeah, so we schedule appointments beyond our regular hours.
Mm,
Yep.
all right. Very nice. Great. That was the only one that was in there. So thanks for
Yeah.
that. And thanks for your great presentation. That was wonderful and heartfelt and hilarious all at the same time. Great content.